Well, did I say the Mark Bird, Managing Director of the GBGB, joins us on the line. Now, to try and get us up to date, Mark, with this ever-changing situation, we're hearing news that the Greyhound Derby is going to be postponed following the announcement by the Prime Minister. What can you tell us? What is the very latest?
Well, I think most of the people would have just seen the Prime Minister delivering his first coronavirus update. I'd like to say things were clear, Darryl, if I'm honest with you, but I have to say that I'm a little bit less clear on what the PM said. I mean, certainly he's pointed out that mass gatherings where there is the emergency services present will come to a stop. Now, most Greyhound meetings, even the competitions, are attended by the emergency services as well. So that kind of is clear. I'm less clear about the fact that he's talking about pubs and clubs and restaurants closing, because that obviously has a fundamental impact on tracks as well. Ark, quite right, has just put out a press statement to say that the Derby is postponed. One would hope to another fixture later in the year. But also they're going to be racing behind closed doors as from tomorrow, which will obviously mirror exactly what they're doing with horse racing as well. We already have a meeting planned tomorrow at the GBGB offices with was just the executive, but we're now broaden it out to other promoters as well. So I think by close of play tomorrow, we will have a position where Greyhound racing will be either to continue as it is with the government advice or to race behind closed doors.
I mean, that will be down to individual promoters, will it, to make that decision, or will the GBGB offer advice to promoters as to what they should do?
No, I think we'll be making recommendations around that because, there's going to be a big economic cost to quite a few tracks who obviously have large footfalls into their restaurants on Fridays, Saturdays and even Sundays. But again, as we've been saying all the way from the start on this, we are following government advice. And if that advice is clarified or we can get clearer details on it, then that's what we're going to be recommending to individual tracks.
And as regards the cancellation of all Greyhound racing at some stage, I guess that's something that we also have to consider, isn't it?
Well, yeah, we have already considered that, and I mean it's not something that we would relish in any shape or form. I mean, as you can guess, the idea of 15,000 greyhounds which would be in circulation being sat on their beds with no income coming in for the trainers and no income going into the tracks, it is quite a scary proposition. That said, the Greyhound Board, we've really looked at what we've got in terms of cash availability to support greyhound welfare. As you know, we were talking about having a greyhound retirement scheme. We are in the process of going through changes in kennelling standards. And again, money that was set aside for both of those projects, we will now ring fence ready for any eventuality whereby we're looking at the welfare of greyhounds and making payments that way.
And regarding individual greyhound trainers, I mean, we're well aware, of course, the average age of our greyhound trainer is relatively high. What's the situation for trainers who feel uncomfortable with continuing to run their greyhounds and continuing to go to tracks?
Well, again, it will really depend on what sort of support structures the trainers have got. Most have got kennel hands who may be younger than the trainers themselves. But I really would urge trainers and tracks to start thinking through those contingencies now. So having those conversations with their attached trainers and seeing really what they can do to try and alleviate any problems with people being exposed to the virus.
And regarding owners, Mark, obviously they won't be admitted to any races that are run behind closed doors. We know that. What's your advice to owners who maybe visit their grounds on a regular basis at the kennels? Is it something that they should be reconsidering at this stage?
Well, again, I think they have to take everything in context with the advice that's been given by the government. One of the things I would be saying is to owners is obviously to remember their responsibilities to their dogs. Whilst we have said we'll put up funds to try and deal with the welfare, making sure that dogs have got sufficient food supplies and bedding supplies through their trainers is something that they should be doing now. But again, that I think they should, in terms of visiting the kennels, they should take the general advice on that and speaking to their trainers as well.
It's a difficult time for everybody. We totally understand that. What would be your advice to everyone involved in the sport at this stage?
Well, as you quite rightly said, Darryl, we are in completely uncharted waters with what's going on here. And as you said right at the beginning of this piece, it is a fast-moving issue. There are things that are changing all the time. So, as I keep saying to everybody, this is something that affects not just greyhound racing, it affects everybody on a daily basis. So, for me, it's as much as possible to keep calm and try as much as we can to continue with the sport, even if that means it's behind closed doors. This will go away at some stage. We need to make sure that we're in a good position when we come out the other side as best we can be.
Mark, many thanks for joining us on the programme. We appreciate the update, and I'm sure you'd like to wish everybody well. And as you say, we can get through this, can't we?
We can, yeah. If we can get united within this sport and get behind everything, then I think we can see this through. But it's going to be a tough, long haul, unfortunately. But I need everyone in the sport to pull together.